Hey, it's Huck. And you know, I'm feeling pretty good. It's been about, almost 3 weeks now since I've been out of the hospital and since I've been around smoke. I'm doing pretty good. I went up to the Cleveland Art Museum a couple of days ago with my friend Dustin. It's been a while since we've talked about, President Trump and the, just the incredible destructiveness of both Trump and the Republican Party. And, every time I go to do a video, I just don't really honestly know where to begin. So I guess I'm going to start kicking the ball off with this message for today, and that is, don't allow yourself to be caught up in the day-to-day distractions of we all know that Trump worked hand in hand with the Russians to get elected. I don't think there's any question, shouldn't be any question at this point, with so many people associated with his campaign having extensive contacts with the Russians, with Trump himself calling out publicly for their help, with his son, Don Jr. We have all of the information about the meeting that he joyfully met in Trump Tower with Russian at any rate, we shouldn't be distracted from the very real damage that the Trump administration has been doing, particularly to healthcare, but also to the environment, also to to wages in America. He passed that tax cut. The very first video I did about Donald Trump during the campaign, during the presidential campaign, was when I looked at all of the Republican candidates' tax proposals. And of course, Trump was the one that got elected. And all he did, the one major piece of legislation that he got through was this tax cut. And the tax cut, of course, 83% of the tax cut benefits go to the top 1%. 83% go to the top 1%. I was just reading an article where 1.2% of working Pennsylvanians saw a modest pay raise as a result of those tax cuts. 1.2%. That means that 98.8% did not. The tax cuts were just one of the really horrendous policies of the Trump administration that has worked to undermine working men and women in this country. And that one's going to have very long coattails as far as really hurting people. And it's not going to be the easiest thing to undo the way it was written. And that's why I say we can't be distracted by all of the day-to-day craziness that's going on. Some of it Trump does on purpose. Getting into these Twitter fights with Iran and with, whoever the target of the day is. We have to stay focused on two things. We know at this point that 75% of Republicans are going to vote for Trump and basically vote Republican no matter what. We know that the Republican Party is going to protect Trump at all costs. We have one strategy to overcome this. One strategy, and that is to register every single young person and woman we can find and then go out and vote. We need to vote in such large numbers in November that we kick a good portion of these Republican congressmen and senators out of office. And there can be no let up. We have to work every single day at meeting this goal. And the Republican Party isn't going to sit back and watch us do this. They are very busy purging voter rolls as we speak. They are working on stacking the deck against us on the Supreme Court to make things like purging the voting rolls of Democrats, a new science, a new GOP stratagem. They've been working at this for a long time in all kinds of different ways of suppressing, the vote, particularly, among minority voters. Now they are fresh with a victory by the Ohio Supreme Court and later upheld by the Supreme Court. They are feeling their oats as far as being able to purge voters in Ohio. What the Secretary of State did was he basically said, if you haven't voted in a certain number of elections, we're going to kick you off the voting rolls. And that way, if that person goes and decides to vote after, 4 or 5 elections for the first time, he's going to go in and he's going to find out he's not able to vote because he's no longer registered. And he may be able to cast a provisional ballot, but as soon as they find out that he's in fact no longer registered, his provisional ballot is not going to count. There are efficient ways to weed out those folks who are no longer eligible to vote, either because they left the state or because they're no longer living. But it doesn't seem the Republican Party is interested in doing that. They would much rather purge the voting rolls of actual residents who may vote. And it just so happens that, the greater percentage is always going to be Democrats of the people that they want to purge. Never in the more rural, or Republican-leaning suburbs. Always going to be in the highly Democratic areas where these purges are going to take place. So, anyway, I just wanted to let you know that Huck is still here. Huck is doing fine. Huck is saving his money. I want to thank some of you out there that helped me out here in the last couple of weeks. 2 people in particular that helped me a great deal. And I want you to know that I'm kind of holding on to that money. I haven't gotten all my medical bills yet. I'm still waiting to hear the bad news on that. So I'm keeping up with all my other bills, but I'm putting a little bit aside here, trying to figure out how I'm going to attack this, because I know that the medical bills are going to be something else, and I'm almost afraid to hazard a guess what my end is going to be. But I'm going to try to do it smart, and I want to be able to pay them, a little bit each month over time. And so any help that I get in the meantime is going to be applied toward that. And I'm going to, like I say, my goal is to try to be able to pay my other bills on time and to pay them enough that they're not going to send my, bills into collection, but that I can still, make ends meet and not affect my credit rating any. And I keep thinking my car is 14 years old, almost 15 years old, and it better hold out for quite a while because I've got to pay off some debts before I can even, think about saving up to buy another used car. Actually, I can't complain. The car, hell, there's no reason why maybe it can't last another 4 or 5 years. Goodness knows I don't go that far. So, at any rate, I want to thank you for watching. Go out and register a young person today. We'll see you again real soon.